Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. This video is in response to Christelyn Karazin's video, and the name of her video is Christelyn Karazin Addresses Her Trolls with Receipts. So, in that video, she's responding to those who have criticized her for the interview that she did with Madison Amelia. And Madison Amelia is the young biracial woman who recorded her racist boyfriend going on a racist rant. That video has received a lot of attention. It's gone viral. So Christelyn Karazin interviewed this woman, and she's received a lot of backlash as a result of that interview. And what I want to do is respond to some of the points that she made in her video. The first thing that she did in this video that I'm referring to is she attacked Cynthia G because apparently Cynthia G did a video critical of Christelyn Karazin's interview. So she attacks Cynthia G by talking about how Cynthia G wears wigs or weaves, and she basically said that that is a sign that Cynthia G hates herself. So basically, Christelyn Karazin was trying to turn the tables because apparently Cynthia G said that Christelyn Karazin hates herself. So now she's saying that Cynthia G hates herself because she wears these wigs and weaves or whatever. And this is my response to that. First of all, obviously I would prefer that all African American women wear their natural hair. I think that black women are naturally beautiful. They don't need to perm their hair or straighten their hair. They don't need to wear wigs and weaves and all that kind of stuff because they're naturally beautiful and they should be proud of their hair. But let's not get things twisted. A hairstyle, in many cases, is just that, a hairstyle. Because you'll have a lot of women who have natural hair, but they don't have natural minds. Their hair may look like they have pride, but in all actuality, they do not have pride. In all actuality, they are the ones who are seeking out these white men or changing the way they behave so that they can get a white man. And a while ago, I did a video asking a basic question: why do so many natural black women date and marry white men? And the thing that prompted me to do that video is because I would go to markets, I would go to different places, and I would see these women who appeared to be Afrocentric based on their hair and their clothing and all that kind of stuff. But they would be walking with a white man. They would be with a white man. And to me, that appeared to be a contradiction. And when I did this video, a lot of women responded to it. And most of the women that responded to it were these women who were into swirling, interracial relationships. And they were saying that a hairstyle is just that, a hairstyle. It's not a political statement. And all these women, they were going on and on about how white men love and appreciate them more than the black man. These women had more respect for white men than they had for black men. So obviously, that hairstyle was nothing but a hairstyle to them. And it made it clear to me that a hairstyle is just that, a hairstyle. And you have plenty of examples of black women that have straightened hair or have wigs who are committed to the people. You have the example of Sister Soldier. You have the example of Betty Shabazz. You have the example of Coretta Scott King. You have the example of Amy Garvey. All of those women had straightened hair, and from what I understand, Sister Soldier had a wig or an attachment or whatever to her hair. But these women were committed to the people. These women had a commitment to the struggle. They were soldiers in our fight for black liberation. So a hairstyle is just that, a hairstyle. And I think that it's silly to basically throw ad hominem attacks at somebody based on what kind of hairstyle they have. Because This woman, Christelyn Karazin, has a natural hairstyle, but obviously she doesn't have black pride because she's constantly elevating and celebrating white men over black men and making derogatory comments about black men and black people in general. So a hairstyle, again, is just a hairstyle. And then the main problem that most people had with this interview that Christelyn Karazin did was this. Here you have a racist white man who goes on a racist rant, calling black people niggers, calling the president of the United States a dumb nigger, talking about how black people should go back to Africa, and making derogatory comments about Black Lives Matter, an organization that's fighting to end police brutality. So this is a man who is obviously a racist. That video was about racism. But when Christelyn Karazin did her interview, she de-emphasized racism. She de-emphasized that. That wasn't the focus of her discussion. Instead, she talked about his narcissism and his psychological issues. And essentially what you had was a situation where she was psychoanalyzing this white man instead of dealing with the big elephant in the room of racism. And that's problematic. And it's just a part of a pattern with this woman. This woman goes out of her way to defend interracial relationships at all costs. So whenever there's some kind of racial issue, instead of focusing on addressing that racial issue, this woman goes out of her way to say that that racial issue should not be a reason to stop interracial dating. And I think part of it is just her sick obsession with white men, her sick devotion to white men, and just her financial gain from promoting this nonsense. She gains through her website. And so she's vigilant about protecting interracial relationships and protecting just the idea of it. So that's why she would focus on these psychological issues instead of the racism issue. And then one other point that she really emphasized during her video is this. She talked about how people are using that one racist video as a reason to say that black women should not date white men. And to strengthen that argument, she showed 4 or 5 videos of black men attacking black women, brutalizing black women, abusing black women. And she basically said, using that logic, then black women shouldn't date black men based on these videos. And this is my response to that. Obviously, people are not saying that all white men use these racial slurs or treat people like this. The point is this. You have presented this idea that somehow this white man is some kind of savior for black women. That somehow by opening up her options and pursuing a white man, that she's going to have better options in life. She's going to live a better lifestyle. She's going to live happily ever after. That's the narrative that this woman promotes. And this video of this white man going on this racist rant completely destroys that false narrative. It completely destroys this mythology that this white man is some kind of saint here to save the black woman from that black man. So that's part of the reason why we're emphasizing the video. And then also the issue of racism. Like, even if someone does not make these kind of statements, use out and out racist language, or go on a racist rant, the problem of racism is real in our society. And an interracial relationship does not erase that reality. As I said in the prior video, having sex with somebody or even being in a relationship with an individual has nothing to do with the racism component. The two can exist at the same time. Someone can be in a relationship with a black woman and still be a racist. And I cited before an article in Essence where this woman was married to a man who basically referred to her using racial slurs. And this man had some kind of slave fetish and all that kind of stuff. So the point is simple. I mean, these relationships are not an answer to racism. These relationships are not some kind of answer to the black woman's problems. And then, I just find it problematic that you would be so desperate to defend white men that you would throw your own black man under the bus and your black community under the bus. And that's what you basically did by showing those videos of those black men brutalizing those black women. Because you made generalizations about the black community. You talked about how this is normal in the black community, that domestic violence is normal in the black community when it is not. That is not the norm in the black community. And then you made disparaging comments about Jamaicans, like by imitating the accent and all that kind of stuff. And then talking about this is for the people who say that black women need to look for international black men, as if to say that even international black men are no good. So, I mean, you sent a clear message. You took this opportunity, as you often do, to bash black men. Here you have a racist that has made disparaging comments in front of a black woman. Instead of focusing on him and attacking him, what you do is you lash out at the black community like you did the last time. See, the problem with people like you is when it comes to white men, you judge them as individuals. But when it comes to black men, you judge them as a collective. Here you have a white man who physically abused a black woman or biracial woman, physically abused her, verbally abused her, cheated on her with men and women. Here you have a man that wasn't a quote unquote provider, protector, or producer. Here you had a bum that was basically living off of this woman who boasts about going to good schools and private college and all that stuff and having a privileged background. Do you use that to talk bad about white men? No, you defend white men. And you basically address this as an individual problem, and you focus more on the psychological issue than on the racism issue. And the fact that racism can be another form of narcissism doesn't cover up the fact that you didn't even address racism really in that video. You mentioned it briefly, and you weren't talking about narcissism in the context of racism. You just talked about narcissism, and you basically psychoanalyzed this guy again without addressing the issue of racism. But the point is, you judge this guy as an individual, and you went all out of your way to defend white men as a group. You went so far as to post these degrading and humiliating videos, and your sarcasm during those videos was sickening, referring to segments as lovely and joking around about this whole thing. It's just sick. And, the fact that you would go this far to defend interracial relationships and white men, it just reminds me of something that Malcolm X said in his speech about the house Negro. He said if the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put out the blaze than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, "What's the matter, boss? We's sick?" See, that's the mentality of people like you. You would defend that white man until the death. and you would throw your people under the bus in a heartbeat. And that's what you did with this video. You are a disgrace to your people. And I'm glad people are calling you out on this BS. And before I go, I just wanted to add this point. Now, you made the statement, that you often do. You talked about how your goal is for black women to be able to choose well, to find quality men of whatever race. But if that's the case, why is it that most of the men that you feature on your Google Hangouts are white men? Why is that? White men with black women. Why is that the focus? I mean, you may have a couple of people that don't fall into that category every now and then, but for the most part, it's white men with black women. If you were truly about just promoting black women getting with quality men of whatever race, you would have men of different races with black women. You would feature that, you would highlight that, and you would also highlight black women with black men. Strong, healthy black relationships as well, if you were all about just quality men of whatever race. I don't recall ever seeing a black couple on your channel, and maybe you have such couples, but I rarely have seen one highlighted. I've rarely heard you talk about black couples, black love on your channel. So if you're about black women dating quality men of whatever race, then why not have black men on your show? Why not have black couples on your show as well? But it seems to be that you're not beyond black and white. You're just beyond black men, as another YouTuber said. And if it's all about character and quality, why do you find a need to disparage black men? Why do you find the need to describe good black men as unicorns, suggesting that good black men are practically non-existent, like the mythical creature, the unicorn? Why do you feel the need to describe black men as the losing team if it's all about quality, character over color? So those are my comments. Tell me what y'all think. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace. But wait, there's more. So here you have a woman who says she's too busy, that she's too happy for drama. She's above debating other YouTubers. But yet she spent an hour responding and debating other YouTubers with that video. If their opinions didn't matter, why waste the time doing an hour-long video? If you're so busy and so happy for drama, why engage in drama? Why make mockery of another YouTuber if you're so above it? Then this woman had the nerve to talk about how she described other YouTubers as emotionally immature. And this is coming from a woman who has got on YouTube crying alligator tears like a baby over some white guy posting videos that were derogatory towards black women. See, the reason why she would get so emotional is because obviously a white man's opinion means much more to this woman. That's what it is. I've never seen her get this emotional over a black man posting some derogatory video about black women. See, because in her mind, the only opinion that matters is the white man's opinion.